Good morning, YouTube world. This is the Propaganda Critic. I am coming to you on 7 October 2017. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, actually, it's now 6:30. Holy cow. I got to get to work here at about... I got to leave at 7:30, so... I'm going to do a quick rundown on an article that I'm going to publish on newsbud.com. It's actually going to publish in a couple days. It's called Barrett Brown, a Political Prisoner in Pursuance of Press Freedom and Government Accountability by Daniel Begley, which is me. So, okay, anyway, so I'll start by kind of giving the dedication to Aaron Swartz. This is what the person that I dedicated this article to, and it is in the same spirit of press accountability or open free press and government accountability that I wrote this article, and Aaron Swartz embodies that. So I'll start out just reading the introductory paragraph verbatim. In January 2013, following his suicide, Aaron Swartz's family and partner released an official statement declaring his death more than a mere personal tragedy. They claim, quote, "It is the product of a criminal justice system rife with intimidation and prosecutorial overreach." The statement also lauds, that's unquote. The statement also lauds Swartz's efforts as, quote, "instrumental to the defeat of an internet censorship bill. He fought for a more democratic, open, and accountable political system," unquote. It is in the spirit of press freedom and accountable government and in honor of Aaron Swartz that I write this article. So we'll start with the heading, the initial heading, Continuing the Legacy. So in this section, we talk about the legacy of those who are fighting against corrupt government systems and press censorship. And that includes people like Bradley Manning, whistleblowers, and kind of in that same vein is Barrett Brown. And that's the subject of this article. He is affiliated with Anonymous. He was actually considered by the mainstream media to be the unofficial spokesperson, even though he wouldn't claim that title himself. He began working with Anonymous in 2011 when he coordinated with Anonymous to engage in what they call Operation Tunisia. And in this operation, Anonymous, and primarily Anonymous in coordination with Barrett Brown, helped to get internet access to the Tunisian people, which ultimately precipitated the overthrow of the brutal dictator Ben Ali. And this was a victory and was really the platform off of which future endeavors were launched. Following that success, you see the U.S. government and its various agencies taking a little bit closer scrutiny, looking a little bit closer at Anonymous. And there's actually a funny thing that occurred where the CEO of a private intelligence contractor for the United States government, his name is Aaron Barr, and the contractor is H.B. Gary Federal. He decided that it would be a good idea to try to infiltrate Anonymous using various aliases in their chat rooms. And he spent a long time surveying and interacting with various Anons until he decided it would be a good idea to publish the fact that he was doing it in Financial Times. And in this article, he went on about how he infiltrated Anonymous and found some lieutenants in the organization. And actually, Anonymous retaliated pretty substantially against him. And it's really funny how it happened. And Stephen Colbert pretty succinctly put it in the Colbert Report. I'm actually going to quote him right now. This is Stephen Colbert. Quote, "To put that in hacker terms, Anonymous is a hornet's nest, and Barr said, 'I'm going to stick my penis in that thing.'" And then he went on, "Faster than you can say, 'Get these hornets off my penis,' Anonymous took down Barr's website, stole his emails, deleted the company's backup data, trashed his Twitter account, and remotely wiped his iPad." So that's what happens when you mess with Anonymous. So, in fact, he didn't just steal Aaron Barr's emails, or I mean, they didn't. Anonymous did. Anonymous stole 70,000 of the company's confidential emails. And they included references to classified operations and various other activities that are fundamentally illegal and against the spirit of the Constitution of the United States. So, upon acquiring all of these 70,000 emails, Barrett Brown and his crowdsourcing intelligence gathering system that he created called Project PM were utilized to focus on sifting through and analyzing these 70,000 emails. And through this analysis, they discovered a, quote, clandestine network of statists in government and outside government working together against activists and journalists. One of the journalists illegally targeted by this activity was and is an American citizen. It's Glenn Greenwald, who you might know because of the publishing of the Edward Snowden leaks. Following the success of hacking HB Gary, Anonymous went on in 2011 to hack into Strategic Forecasting Network, and they stole 5 million emails. So this is much more significant. And you can actually find these 5 million emails on WikiLeaks under the heading of Global Intelligence Files. And revelations from this release include a sealed U.S. indictment of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, who is a journalist and is being prosecuted for being a journalist, as usual. So there's another section in the article called The Hammer Drops, and this is fast forwarding to 2010 following Anonymous's DDoS attack on PayPal as part of Operation Payback for illegally blocking private donations to WikiLeaks. The FBI raided several of Brown's personal friends and associates, confiscating their property, harassing them, threatening them for communicating with the media, i.e., getting help from Barrett Brown to publish the FBI warrants. And at this point in time, Barrett Brown actually was already a target of the FBI, and they were just waiting for an opportunity to take him down. And in 2012, they found this opportunity. They actually got this opportunity. They raided Barrett Brown's house and his mother's house, looking for, quote, for information pertaining to, quote, conspiracy to access without authorization protected computers, and any records pertaining to HB Gary, in-game systems, InfraGard, and Anonymous. So they're trying to take down his ability to engage in journalism and to disseminate information that the government deems a threat in some way, even though that is information referencing illegal activity. So at his trial, Brown was facing potentially 105 years in prison because of these alleged credit card fraud charges, which the reason they put those charges on there, even though they were eventually dropped, was because the link that Barrett Brown had copy and pasted from one chat room to the next was it had credit card information on it. So, but he didn't even actually open the document, and they couldn't prove that he did, so it was all dropped, or the link. Okay, so the government offered a plea bargain to get rid of the fraud charges, and so let me just read this quote real quick, because this is in his statement to the court. Barrett Brown said, he said, last year when the government offered me a plea bargain whereby I would plead to just one of the 11 fraud charges relating to the linking and told me it was final, I turned it down. He continues, to have accepted the plea with a 2-year sentence would have been convenient, but it would have been wrong, even aside from the fact that I did not commit the fraud and thus could not sign to any such thing. To do so would have constituted a dangerous precedent. It would have given the government, and particularly the FBI, one more tool by which to prosecute journalists and activists whose views they find dangerous and undesirable. So that gives you a kind of a hint as to what Barrett Brown thought of the case. Ultimately, Barrett Brown was sentenced to 63 months in prison and ordered to pay $890,000 in restitution and fines. Now, he also, while he was in prison, they tried to shut him up by putting him in prison, and then he decided that he was just going to shift gears and start looking at corruption within the prison system, and he published a lot of articles and spent a lot of time in the hole for publishing those articles. So anyway, when he got out of prison, he was relegated to home confinement for a period of time. And in this time, he never missed a check-in, never failed a drug test, everything doing exactly as he was supposed to. And all of a sudden, 5 months into this, the Bureau of Prisons decided that he was no longer allowed to, or never was allowed to in the first place, conduct interviews with the press. This is not actually true. And the BOP tried to require Brown to get prior authorization in order to conduct an interview with the press. He refused that prior authorization because he knew that it wasn't legal for them to do so. And because he refused, they arrested him and put him in jail for 4 days without explanation. And he wasn't released until a lawyer hired by his publisher came and threatened him with a lawsuit. They released him, didn't give him any explanation as to why they did it. Additionally, Kevin Gallagher, who was the founder of FreeBarrettBrown.org, and he was the creator of Brown's Legal Defense Fund, was suing the Department of Justice kind of at the same time that this debacle with 4 days in jail. He's suing the Department of Justice for having issued a subpoena seeking the names of all donors to Brown's Legal Defense Fund. And this is a real serious issue because the government is trying to silence and stifle the defense of somebody they're engaged in a lawsuit against. This is corruption to the core. On top of subpoenaing the names, they decided that it was appropriate to confiscate $20,000 that was donated to his legal defense fund. And then they decided to complain about the fact that they had to provide a public attorney. So that's an ongoing lawsuit. You can actually follow that at Barrett Brown, FreeBarrettBrown.org. And despite all this legal wrangling, the constant threat of re-imprisonment, Brown remains on task. With his current project, the Pursuance System, he hopes to permanently alter the landscape of journalism and activism, not only in the United States, but the world. The goal of this crowdsourced, decentralized intelligence gathering system, Brown says, is creating an agile, self-correcting organism, quote, combining the energies and time of the world's serious citizens who are opposed to corruption, opposed to state overreach, opposed to tyranny, putting their energies together in a way that makes sense, that takes full advantage of those energies and applies them over and over again in confrontations with states and other institutions until such time as things change. So for more information on Barrett Brown, his story, and his current projects, please refer to the sources linked in the article. And I close with a statement: we are in this together, and the price of freedom is always eternal vigilance. And that is it. So thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please feel free to comment, subscribe, donate financially. I really need the help. I want ultimately to be able to do this more regularly, and I'm going to continue publishing and posting videos. I'd like to start a regular podcast where I post every couple days. I'm working on it right now. I got a full-time schedule. I've been waking up at 4:30 in the morning. Right now, I started this whole process of getting this together at about 5 in the morning. It's almost 7 right now. So hopefully what I can do is just regularly in the mornings while all the kids are sleeping, be able to come down here and create a podcast. Let me know your comments. Give me feedback. Thanks for watching. Once again, please subscribe. Donate if you got the money, or if you desire. I'll leave a link to my PayPal. So thanks a lot, guys.